Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
Deciding on what to listen to is hard. Using Zumo to stream music from iHeart 90s radio is easy. Or play iHeart Country or Hip Hop Beats. Your choice, all for free. Stream easy with Zumo Play. Get live and on-demand entertainment with no logins, no signups, no accounts, no hassle. This February, stay in and watch Glory starring Denzel Washington and Matthew Broderick, or the rom-com Breaking All the Rules with Jamie Foxx and Gabrielle Union. All streaming free on Zumo Play. Go to play.zumo.com now. Life is hard. Zumo is easy.
Vikes Bites.
Good morning, Vikes Bites, 9 to noon. Vikes Bites is always brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef.
Shohei.
And you can shop online, thousandhillslifetimegrazed.com. You can learn about regenerative agriculture. You can learn why their beef is more nutrient dense than anything else you're going to get, and it tastes delicious. You can go to your local Coburns and your local co-ops locations as well. They are proud sponsors of Gophers Athletics, Clearwater, Minnesota's finest. Speaking of Minnesota's finest, Minnesota's moving company. This is kind of it's a two-talker bit, Vikes Bite style, and it is kind of building off of the offensive line discussion that we had when Ben Gessling was here, PA. When is the right time, do you think? And I'm sure the team's already knee-deep in this. When is the right time for us, though, 9 to noon, and as Rubes and his fans and his adult children, to start pondering the health and the readiness of Christian Darrisaw into 2025? So Cam Robinson, you make that trade in season, worked out terrifically in totality, thinking about getting a starting left tackle at that stage of the season to replace Christian Darrisaw, who was lost for the season in the Rams game. But now Cam Robinson's going to be a free agent. And you're going to get text messages from me all spring PA saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Cam Robinson wanted to play guard? And I'll talk like that, and I'll attack you with dumb bits like that. But at that point, given the knee severity and the injury to Christian Darrisaw, I'm thinking opening up 2025. It's J.J. McCarthy, SZN. It's McCarthy season. What about our left tackle? At what point? Is it just free agency? Is it combine? I have some audio from somebody talking about the quarterback as he enters his second year. I'll get to that momentarily. But when do we start pondering what we're going to do at left tackle, the health and readiness of Christian Darrisaw?
Well, until the team gives a lead, and you know, not playing doctor here, but generally 11 to 13 months, around a year, is statistically or probability wise when things like this are most healed.
Yeah.
So therefore, you know, that's when they get out there. Now, when it comes to big people on legs and ACLs and stuff like that, maybe it's different. But for the start of the season, I'd have no idea. But with organized team activities, you know, just having him around, I think that would be a positive step.
Vikes Bites!
It's Vikes Bites, Shohei.
All right, still on the offensive line. And
Luke is doing his press conference right now. Man, he looks like a deer in the proverbial headlights. Holy cow.
Well, I forget who it was, but somebody was doing a podcast. It wasn't Chandler. Who was it? It wasn't Tyson Chandler, was it? But they were talking, like, he cried and he had just bought like a $15 million house a couple of weeks ago.
Luka?
Yeah. This is negative.
Ant said that post game last night. He was like, Edwards was asked about it, and just his boyish charm is just so wonderful sometimes. Yeah, I mean, it's like he just bought a $15 million house. And he's like, I know how it feels. I just bought a crib. I don't want to be trading. I don't want to be traded. Don't do this to me. No. So he talked about that, and then, like, he's 25 years old, and there has to be more to it and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Juergens, he played 12 special teams snap this season, PA, over 3 games. And as you look at potentially the Vikings depth chart and think about offensive linemen, what do you think the lot in life is for a guy like Michael Juergens or, Ed Ingram, as Dalton Reisner is going to be a free agent? Blake Brandel, the potential, if we are going to beef up at guard, a guy like Blake Brandel, who we were excited about giving an opportunity to start in 2024.
Right.
Maybe a Blake Brandel heads back to that reserve role. But I'm thinking specifically about Michael Juergens, no relation to Cam Juergens. We figured that out. But the idea of him potentially competing for an opportunity and giving the Vikings something that doesn't have to be acquired on the free agent market. That'd be nice to find, our version of Trey Smith. You mentioned Trey Smith's a 6-rounder. Okay, well, can we hit on a 6-rounder? Can Michael Juergens be that guy that works out? Walter Rouse, you think about him, speaking of 6-rounders, he was a 6-rounder this last year. The idea of guys like Michael Juergens and Walter Rouse potentially being options that don't force the Vikings or pigeonhole them into big money free agent acquisitions. That's just bouncing around in my head a little bit.
Right, and it's difficult to prognosticate like what would be next, unless I know the complexity or the ins and or outs of Garrett Bradbury's contract. And now that also would come with a leap if I were, Juergens will be on the team.
Yeah.
So you can start there. Will his role be elevated? Potentially, can he win a starting job? That comes down to the contractual wherewithal of the guy who has it now. How well is he playing? What are they looking to do different in 2025? And does 56 fit as well as the second-year guy? But with Juergens, there's a person either on the radio with us or off the radio, so I'm not going to say the name because I can't remember, who said that Juergens will be a starting center in the NFL, that they have no doubt Juergens will be a starting center in the NFL. They didn't say when, and I didn't ask when. But so that's at least as of like last offseason what they thought about the guy.
Yeah, and looking at and Garrett Bradbury, that is the key there is you're focusing in on that center spot. So it's not about could he be a guard, it would be specifically that spot. Garrett Bradbury, final year of his deal, there are $1.6 million in void years. There's 2 void years on the back end of it looks like, but he's going to make $6 million. If the Vikings did decide to move on, I think Garrett's going to be back. That's just like my instinct on this is that too. Garrett plays out this contract and maybe he moves on after that.
And Walter Rouse becomes a backup guard or plays. He is raised into the season to play guard. Okay, so he's bigger. He's tackle big for the most part, super strong. Maybe they take what they have inside and from inside the organization and they move it inside the line, and that gives them another option.
If they did decide to move on from Garrett Bradbury, they would save $3.6 million this year. 2.4 would sit on the cap, but they would save 3.6 if they decided to do that. I think Garrett's going to be back, but we'll see.
So do I.
Final Vike Bite for you, and then we'll pause because we're going to do a Covenant Catchup with Hey Blondie, Jamie Hersch.
Blondie.
Albert Breer was chatting with Mr. Eisen, and he was asked about J.J. McCarthy.
J. McCarthy on tomorrow, Albert. And do you think that the Vikings move on to him no matter what, or they're going to make a play for Sam? Like that kind of is a piece for the free agency stuff here.
I don't think it's no matter what thing sort of situation yet. I would say this though, he's ahead of schedule. He's able to do just about everything now. He's second surgery was really just a cleanup, and he's going to have a full offseason. So he's not going to be limited by anything this offseason. Now there's still a little bit of a leap of faith in that he did lose 4 or 5 months of development time, but he was very locked in to every part of the football operation that he could be a part of. Like when they went out to practice, he would do his rehab work, and then all the stuff that was in the building he was a part of. So he was in the quarterback room pretty much all the way through. He started traveling again with the team with their trip to Los Angeles in October, so he could be around the team for the game day operation, for the trip, he could be on the headset during the game. So he's doing everything he possibly can to put himself in position to play in 2025 and start in 2025. And here's the other thing. When he got hurt in August, like he played well enough early on in camp to at least complicate the plan to start Sam Darnold and just redshirt him and sort of, put that decision off for another year. He played well enough to make it a real discussion. I'd say JJ's checked a lot of boxes, and I can say they'd be comfortable with him as their starting quarterback in 2025.
Ooh, Albert Breer with Eisen.
That was Breer.
Yeah, it was Breer.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of an update on his...
I'm sorry. I like how he put that.
Yeah.
Because that was very professionally put. If you believe J.J. McCarthy was never starting the first game of the year against the Giants, and that would be the 9 to noon belief. Well, there are multiple ways to say it, because the way the team laid it out during training camp and the preseason games is, bets are off. I mean, got a competition out here. Threw a pick against the Raiders, bounced back beautifully, found Tristan Jackson, and then here when Justin Jefferson's blurting on television, here we are. Well, Breer put it this way. JJ did enough to at least complicate the decision, which could mean making somebody think a little more about not necessarily, well, do we need to use this guy week one?
Right.
But like, wow, okay. It's what we're seeing here is we knew it was there, but it was coming out fast.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt, and then all complication was more complicated.
That's Vikes Bites.
And Jamie Hersch, Champlain Park native, I believe formerly of NHL Network. We're going to find out here shortly. She's going to join for a Covenant Catchup. That's coming up around the corner on KFAN, your money grab leader.
The Fan wants to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword green, and you might win $1,000. The keyword is green at KFAN.com.
Roku has what you need to make your college home away from home feel more like your own. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TV, or bring a Roku streaming stick to easily access all your favorite free and premium content like iHeartRadio. Stream your favorite playlist with the Roku Vibe Setting Smart Light strips to sync your music to millions of colors and make your dorm feel more like you. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TVs, streaming players, and smart lights. Head to Roku.com or your favorite retailer to deck out your dorm.
Wild and Boston Bruins on KFAN this evening. Joe Smith from The Athletic joined 9 to noon an hour and a half ago, and Joe was at morning skate at TD Gardens, and shared with 9 to noon that Joe Hansen and Jonas Brodin both returning this evening. So you will hear that game right around 6 o'clock right here at FM 100.3 KFAN. And speaking of hockey, somebody from the state of hockey, Champlain Park Go Crazy, is Jamie Hersch. At Jamie Hersch via the X machine, if you would like to follow, as 9 to noon does. And formerly of Fox Sports North, she joins us now. Jamie, Paul Allen, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah, likewise. Let's just get to the brass tacks. Do you live in Las Vegas?
I do live in Las Vegas.
When did you move to Las Vegas? Are you still with NHL and/or MLB Network? I believe that answer to be no.
That's true. I am not currently with NHL or MLB Network. Long story short, I'm so glad we're catching up over the airwaves, PA. We decided that it was in the best interest of our family and our life to move a lot closer to where our family is. And my husband's from Southern California. all his siblings, parents, everyone's in LA and Santa Barbara. My parents moved full-time to Phoenix. And so over the past year or so, we've been trying to figure out how to move closer to them. And we landed on Vegas, partly because there's a really great community just about 25 minutes northwest of the Strip in the mountains. And it's where the Golden Knights headquarters are, and the players and staff and everybody lives out here. And so it's totally separate from the Vegas that most people think about. And it's beautiful and a totally normal suburb. Cost of living is a fraction of what it was in New York, where we were for so many years, and we're closer to family. So we kind of took a leap of faith and bet on ourselves, and now we are living in Vegas, and I'm doing some stuff for the Golden Knights, but still very active in the PWHL as well, and hopefully we'll go back to doing some sort of freelance work for NHL Network in the future, but just didn't make sense to continue there on any full-time basis since it's not a really short commute to go to New York from Vegas.
Yeah. Okay. So, obviously not giving out addresses or anything. I think I know where you're talking about. It's where a lot of Raiders live. It's let's just say Red Rock, Rocks-ish, kind of up there. Okay. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now, okay. The summer heat. All right. I mean, you know it's coming. You know it's unbelievably hot, but like big deal, right?
We moved July 1st, and that week it was a new record high for temps. It reached 120 on the Strip, which it had never done before, and that is objectively too hot. It's miserable. Like, it is not something you want to be outside in for more than 5 minutes. But that being said, that only lasts really for the month of July, A, and B, we have a pool, and we have air conditioning, and so it's kind of the reverse of living in Minnesota, where you don't really go outside. You go into your heated car from your heated house, and you drive to your heated place of work, and they have remote starters and all the things that Minnesotans know how to deal with the cold. It's kind of like that, except it's dealing with the heat for a short time in the summer, and the rest of the year it's beautiful.
That's fantastic, and I'm super happy for you guys. Now, lastly on this aggressive move that I just heard about, so thus a Covenant Catchup. This is real old school.
Hey, Blondie.
Happened at a Twins game when she worked for Fox Sports North. She would come on 9 to noon frequently. Somebody didn't know her name. She's walking down some stairs, and some rube in the crowd goes, "Hey, Blondie," and thus the origin of that with Jamie Hersch. Now, your husband. The last time we spoke in depth about him, he was hitting .725 in Champlain Park D-League softball wearing eye black. And he would occasionally think bunts were okay in D-League softball. So once we got him squared away at that, so he has changed. So everybody's changing jobs, and by leap of faith has moved to a place to be closer to family and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, for him, it was a little bit less of a leap of faith because his job is fully remote anyway. He started for a new company about a year ago, and they are a fully remote business, and so you can live wherever, which was another reason why we felt comfortable kind of taking this next step, and my work would kind of sort itself out was the plan. And so far, so good. It's been great to be able to have a little better work-life balance and be around the kids a lot more. They're 5 and 3 now, which is crazy.
That's awesome.
So I've really enjoyed that, but also able to be a lot more involved in the PWHL, trying to really lean into play-by-play. I was just back home for Hockey Day, Minnesota, where I got to call the women's college game, and so kind of just saying yes to whatever opportunities present themselves while also living here and being mom.
With the PWHL and locally the Frost, I've gotten to meet some players on that team through Parker Fox with the Gophers basketball team, and his girlfriend Taylor Heisey. She won the championship last year. She's tough. Taylor Heisey's tough, isn't she?
Yeah, she won playoff MVP, so she is awesome. She is probably, I'd say, top 3 favorite players right now. I mean, I'm always partial to Kendall Coyne-Schofield because I know her personally, and she's a big reason why I got to be involved in the first place. She helped me kind of connect with the right people to get into the league in the first place, and she's really the godmother of the whole league at this point. She's the one that went to Billie Jean King and helped get the financial backing to create the first ever real sustainable best-on-best women's professional hockey league. So she is the GOAT, in my opinion, but Taylor Heisey is right there with her. Hillary Knight, also a big fan of hers. But it's so fun to see girls now, and even little boys, who have professional women's hockey players to look up to and try to emulate. And, you used to ask anyone, and they're like, who's your favorite player? And it was Sidney Crosby, Zach Parise, whoever. Now it's like Taylor Heisey, right. Hillary Knight, Marie-Philippe Poulin, and it's awesome.
All right, now a minute and a half, you get it all. I don't know hockey, and then let's do this again and chat about the Vegas Golden Knights, NHL, stuff like that. I just wanted to do a Covenant Catchup with one of my favorites, Jamie Hersch.
Aw.
Did you see all the scraps in the Wild Ottawa game the other night, especially Hartman go after Stützle? Now, Quite honestly, I haven't seen that many sparks fly since that United airline on the Newark tarmac you were stuck on the other day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My horror story travel aside.
Wow. No. Your horror story travel. What happened there? Were you scared?
Oh, you want to know the story there?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was freaky. We were just about to take off. We were the next plane, and suddenly people started kind of like yelling and screaming on the side of the plane. And there were sparks flying out of the engine and smoke and fire. And all of a sudden, there were about 10 fire trucks right there. They put out whatever it was. And unfortunately, then it led to a whole host of just calamities for the next several hours. And we ended up not getting out that night, whatever. But the main thing is it was scary to think that we could have, taken off with an engine that was about to blow. Thankfully, we did not. And we were able to get out later the next day, but it was definitely a time.
Well, United Airlines was kind enough to give each passenger, I believe, a $15 voucher. What? For the trouble. What? What'd you do with your $15 voucher that I understand had to be spent that day?
It had to be spent that day. We were already on the plane, so we couldn't spend it because it wasn't valid on board. So I got in a whole Twitter thing with United, which it's just silly. I mean, anyone who flies knows that it's just a pain to try to deal with airlines when things go awry. But they ended up giving us a hotel voucher for the seediest hotel I've ever stayed in, and so there's that. And then we got out the next morning, and I got to get I think one coffee, a cup of coffee, and maybe like half a bagel is what $15 buys you now at the airport.
Well, here it is, 9:32 in the morning, 7:02 time, which means it's probably 65, 70 degrees already, right?
It actually is lovely today. It's going to be 72.
Yep, and you have the whole day in front of you and your beautiful family. Let's do this again soon, okay?
Thanks so much. Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Yep, just thinking about you. Appreciate you. Tell your husband we say hello. And God bless you guys. Speaking of that, if you're looking for a church, a dear friend of mine is the lead pastor. John Bohr is his name, at a church right around the corner from where you live. It's called Anchor Hill. Anchor Hill Church, if you're interested, okay?
Awesome. We go to a different one, but I'd be happy to check it out and see what's up.
Appreciate you. See you later.
All right, bye.
Jamie Hersch, formerly of Fox Sports North, now living in Las Vegas, doing some work with the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll be right back.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have supervision, enhanced hearing, extraordinary reflexes, to be, dare we say, superhuman? Well, Roku's new Pro Series TV can't do any of that for you. But with a 4K screen, side-firing speakers, and a blazing fast refresh rate, it'll sure feel like it. Elevate your entertainment using all your favorite apps like iHeart and play all your music, radio, and podcasts with the new Roku Pro Series. Your senses aren't better. Your TV is.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
Started the radio show today with a chat with Wolves head coach Chris Finch. He's weekly, thanks to Second Harvest Heartland, twoharvest.org, and to Prize Picks. And last time we chatted with Chris was 8 days ago, and I was like, man, a lot's happened during the course of the last 8 days since we chatted. How's your knee?
I'm good. The knee's doing well, thanks. Coming along.
I mean, you beat Atlanta, and you had some problems with it. You know, then we've had some. Julius Randle gets hurt. We had the Washington fiasco last night, high-scoring game down to the wire. And I have all your albums. I watch all your press conferences. I either attend or watch all games. And it's just since we last chatted 8 days ago, it's just been a crazy week for you and the team, hasn't it, man?
Yeah, I mean, it has. It's kind of been a microcosm of the season in a lot of ways. Without the injury, we've been relatively healthy, but we're taking on some injuries here of late, which is certainly impacting us. But we got to find a way to survive it and be good through it. And we've shown ability to do that, but it's literally consistency and sustainability, and the ability to close out and win close games is really what's kind of making and breaking our season right now.
Meanwhile, Super Bowl 59 this weekend. Where do you watch your beloved Birds in the Super Bowl while spending a lovely season Sunday in Cleveland?
Yeah, I think usually when we're on the road for the Super Bowl, we'll have a bit of a kind of a Super Bowl watch party room at the hotel, or maybe at a restaurant somewhere. But generally, if it's my team playing in it, I like to kind of watch it in the privacy of my own room, just to try to relax and enjoy it.
What about a team outing? What about like a big ballroom at the hotel and like getting the whole team together, stuff like that, and close the doors, make it all private, and have some private fun, and I don't know, just to like gather and get together, and not saying you need cohesiveness, but like become cohesive.
Yeah, well, we do that every year. There is whenever we're on the road for the Super Bowl, there is a private room. There's definitely a kind of food and things to just relax and enjoy the game.
Good. Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. Some rest and relaxation be good for all you guys. And with that big trade that took place over the weekend, do you think there's any chance the Mavs were watching Cavs film and were like, "Hey, Mobley and Allen, we need that with those bigs. Let's go get Anthony Davis." You know what I mean?
I think so. I think size is definitely coming back into the league. A lot of teams for a number of years chose to play small. We certainly proved last year that you can play big effectively, particularly now that so many of these bigs are skilled. And if you have two skilled bigs out there, or you have the ability to have flexibility in how you employ them defensively, you really can, be different, and you can, cause a lot of problems. I think defense now is, more prevalent in the league, since they've kind of altered the way that they're called the game mid-season. You allow a little bit more physicality, a little bit more kind of, let a lot more go at the rim. So it's certainly, they're going to be formidable defensively with the number of athletic bigs that Dallas does have now.
Couple of things there. It's like how far, do you know all the ins and outs of the luxury tax and like the second level? It's so confusing and just quite honestly boring to read, but like things like that play into monster deals like this, right?
Of course. I think no doubt about it. I personally don't know all the details of the new CBA. I kind of get them in the context of, what's going on around the league or what we might be trying to do and what we can and can't do. But I think the overall arching theme is the new CBA was put together to create more stability amongst franchises, not as much player movement. So I think it's kind of was put in place to make it super punitive for teams that wanted to load up with 3 stars, pay 3 guys max players salaries, and then limit their ability to do anything else. So I think what you're seeing now is teams and owners, management, et cetera, are going to look at their roster. They're going to look at the future. They're going to look at the money that they have to commit. It's less really about the money because, you're going to have to spend a certain amount of that anyway. But it's really about how restrictive it becomes when you do commit that money and you do make other decisions alongside of that. And, it's going to hamper you from continuing to be able to build around the talent that you already have. Puts more of an emphasis on draft and develop. But, you got to, if you're picking at the bottom of the draft every time, like now, you obviously you're going to find role players and guys that may be more ready to play. If you're picking at the top, you're trying to find high-end ceiling talent. But either way, it's really, it's quite restrictive, the new CBA. So everyone's just trying to figure it out. And I think there's going to be several phases to it. How do you manipulate your current situation into some sort of future flexibility, and then what does that future flexibility look like as you go forward in the new CBA?
When you caught word of this deal, did it blow you away? I mean, was it truly like one of those deals where you look at your phone or you catch wind from Freeman or Sarah or whomever, and you're like, "What? Are you kidding me? Really?"
Yeah, it did. Of course, it blew me away because if you had a list of players who would be quote unquote untradeable, certainly I would put both those guys on that list. But we always kind of make the comment to ourselves that, this guy's untradeable, but what if this other dude was available? And then all of a sudden nobody becomes untradeable. But the reality is the other dude is almost never available. So that was my first thought. My second thought was, there's clearly an evaluation of the future and of the player, and they decided that it was better for them to maintain flexibility, and that new ownership down there maybe wanted to take control of their franchise in a new way, and that's well within their right to do so.
And lastly here, because it's just weird talking about other teams this way, but I mean, with Dallas, okay, if Kyrie stays healthy, obviously he can be a menacing presence. But do you think with Davis, Gafford, Lively, and PJ Washington, PJ's never played better, and I know you're a fan of his. It's maybe they're putting one eye on the future of their team and the other eye on OKC or other teams they utilize bigs in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like for when Holmgren comes back and with Hartenstein, Jalen Williams, things like that.
Sure. That's what you do when you build these rosters. You look around who you're going to have to beat and go through, and how do you match up, and how can you create advantages for yourselves. The only thing I would say, the head scratcher there is that, as they were currently constructed before Saturday night, Dallas was one of the few teams that can consistently give OKC problems anyway. Right. So, maybe this is, maybe they're trying to predict what a healthy OKC with bigs does look like, but this is a multi-layered, there's a lot of decisions that had to go into, a lot of things that went into this decision, a lot of little decisions along the way of why you're going to do a trade with this magnitude.
Right. Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, they get Chicago tomorrow night at Target Center. Was the back to a couple of games ago, was the thing with Julius like a freak tweak? I mean, under the basket, just like he tweaked something out of nowhere?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was, he actually pulled it on the initial drive. And then when he finished is when he landed, he kind of hopped up and, but it was actually impressive that he was able to, finish that drive. But yeah, it was just a kind of a freak thing. He doesn't have any history of that groin strain. And, hopefully he'll be back with us in the near future.
Good. Any idea when you get him back? Post All-Star break, maybe?
I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope so. But we don't have any exact clarity. I think we should know more today on that.
Good. So. Yeah. Good luck with that. And
Thanks.
With last night, it seems you were looking to avoid racehorse basketball with the Sacramento Kings team that can score. I mean, they can score, and Sabonis facilitating is abnormal, and he's really good at it. So. How does one set that defensive tone to get the game the way you want it?
Well, I think, with physicality early, you certainly can't give them 38 points to start the game. That's not going to help. That helps. Any offensive player or team that can come out and score easily has the feeling that it's going to be their night. No matter what you throw at them, these guys are too good to watch the ball go in that much, that early. And, I didn't like our physicality early. We've been really good when we're good with being physical, particularly on the ball.
Right.
And being able to control where that ball goes. And that's come and gone for us this season. With the amount of point of attack defenders that we do have, we should be better there on a nightly basis. And we just haven't.
So that would be the on-ball pressure and defense and the sliding and tenacity. Yep. Those would be keys to getting hold of specifically Malik Monk. and DeMar Rosen, and perhaps you feel they weren't consistently executed, and both those guys had big games, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, those guys are extremely gifted offensive players. If they're able to dribble and get to their spot, their comfort zone, rise up and shoot over you, they're gonna make a good amount of those, and that's what we saw, and particularly down the stretch. But again, if you give them, it's really hard to stop a lot of these guys. We don't expect to hold them to 8 points, but you got to disrupt their rhythm. You got to play with more kind of physicality on the ball. You got to be able to take away the things that they're trying to get to and not just hope they miss, but you got to make them miss.
Right. This may have some loser's lament to it, but let me hear what you have to say. One facet from last night that I do believe is fair is when you got your guys on Sabonis. Okay, I'm not saying he was the mark, but I'm not saying he wasn't the mark. And they would beat him. Some of the shots were just in and out heartbreakers, man. So it's almost like you do it the right way offensively, and it's spinning around the rim for an hour, like game of inches stuff, like Dillingham's step back three on Sabonis was so close, and it seemed like he made the right play. Is that a loser's lament?
No, I mean, that's the game of basketball. As we say here in the NBA, and you've heard it in different marketing slogans around the league, is a make or miss league. If you make those shots, it all's great. If you miss them, it's a whole different story. I think, sometimes I think early on in the season, PA, we didn't shoot the ball well. I could probably point to a number of games we lost because we just shot 20-some% from a 3-point line with wide open shots. I think Jaden McDaniels leads the league in wide open shots. Dante DiVincenzo early on in the season had a ton of wide open shots, just didn't connect. And for whatever reason, they just didn't go in, and sometimes that happens. And we've talked about that a number of times. You just got to have the courage to keep taking the good shots, and they'll go in eventually. So it's not loser's lament. It's just sometimes how it goes. But, we got to try to find other ways to impact the game. And we've always been about defense when we've been good, and that's what we got to get back to, a better level of defensive consistency.
Yeah. That's Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, back at it tomorrow night at Target Center, 7 o'clock against the Bulls. The Wild and Bruins on KFAN this evening at 6 o'clock, so please listen to that. Thank you for listening to 9 to Noon. I'm Paul Allen from the Fighting City of Mankato, here to perform for us, ladies and gentlemen, an emerging up-and-coming act known as Big Daddy Khan.
Big boy's back! Now, what did I do wrong?
Time for two more.
I hope your breakfast was good. The bagels and lox. We talked about the Chiefs today. We checked a box. This game is masochistic. Gotta grin and bear it. While we're dreaming about trading for Myles Garrett. Paul Dano, most recently the Riddler, sauce his hands in his pants, call him the Fiddler. PA at all the P breaks, he's a piddler. Charge's childhood hero is Bette Midler. Now, I don't know why Charge caught a stray. Normally save that for later in the week. It's Tuesday. But I found that line in an old email. I copy-pasted. My quick twitch today failed. Gotta set sail. Tomorrow it's Florio. He'll have his Super Bowl conspiracy stories, though. When I yell Vikes Bites, not offended, turn the volume low. Show's done. Thanks for listening on the radio.
I'm here to serve you.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Roku has what you need to make your college home away from home feel more like your own. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TV. Or bring a Roku streaming stick to easily access all your favorite free and premium content like iHeartRadio. Stream your favorite playlist with the Roku Vibe Setting Smart Light strips to sync your music to millions of colors and make your dorm feel more like you. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TVs, streaming players, and smart lights. Head to Roku.com or your favorite retailer to deck out your dorm.
It is Ryan Seacrest here, ready to start 2025 on the right foot? Me too. When I want to feel my best, I make sure my gut health is in check. That's why I love drinking Health-Ade Kombucha daily. It's powered with probiotics, which helps you feel less bloated and more refreshed. For my Aldi fans, you're in luck. You can find 2 of Health-Ade's delicious flavors, Mango Lemonade and Citrus Immune Boost, at Aldi for a limited time. It is such an easy way to get your probiotics. Look for the brown bottle with an anchor on it at an Aldi near you.